lot of pain to the victim. In the first reading from the book of Levi, hear how it was very difficult for the Jews to accept somebody with leprosy. It was contagious. And so people never wanted to mix with somebody who is suffering from leprosy. He had to be given an identity that make people identify him from afar. He was not to comb his hair, not even to cut it, so that when he is walking, he would be identified from afar. A leper was to put on a kind of a cloth that would also help people to know that he's suffering from leprosy. He was needed to walk with the bell. And he rings the bell as he moves. And shout, "I am unclean, I am unclean." So that anybody who might have not seen him or her would give way. When he's still alive, he would stay in the wilderness. And your family would bring you food. They tie a rope on your leg. And then they would bring you food. And they pull that rope. If you pull back, then they know you are alive. They put the food there. And so you come and pick the food. With them they had gone. They were not allowed to mix with the people. It was as dreaded as what we had in 2019, COVID-19. So people never like to be caught by this disease. Why? Because it had a stigma, strong stigma. Stigma, self-stigma, and social stigma. If you are caught with this disease, the community believed, apart from the pain that you have, the community believed that such disease was only given to people who have sinned and God is punishing them. So if you are caught with it, you would have self-stigma, always asking yourself, what did I do? That this thing has come. You would always scare yourself, trying to find out. But it has also social stigma. Nobody wants to come to you, including your children, your family. They would run away from you. It was not a disease that is liked. But in the gospel, Mark wants to tell us that Jesus is the game changer for the leper. He turns things upside down. And Mark has given us this. He has carefully chosen the words that he writes here. He says, a leper approached our Lord. He came to Jesus begging. And kneeling, he said to him, "If you will, you can make me clean." Mark tells us that the leper is not asking Jesus to heal him, but make me clean. Because the greatest pain that this man is having is social assassination. He has been killed socially. He needs to go back to the community. He needs to be reconciled. He needs to be restored. And in the Gospel of Matthew and Luke, giving this story, they tell us that Jesus healed the leper. But they don't tell us the reason. Mark tells us. He tells us Jesus was moved with pity. He empathized. He felt for him. And he stretched out his hand, touched him. He reached out to him. And he embraced him. He touched him and said, I will. Be clean. And immediately the leprosy left him. He was made clean. Our Lord reaches out to those who are marginalized, to those who are downtrodden, to people who are socially assassinated. And reach out to them. Give them meaning. Give them power. And restore them back to the community. He sternly charged him not to say this thing to anybody. The Jews were expecting a glorious Messiah, a king-like Messiah, a Davidic Messiah that would come in a glorious way, not in the humble way of Jesus. But in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus hid his identity. Because if he revealed it, our salvation would have not reached the end according to the plan of God. Then he tells him, go and do the rituals that were prescribed by Moses, so that the priest may again pronounce you are coming back, as he had pronounced you are going out. But the leper went on spreading the good news. Mark wants also another striking thing in Mark, that the leper is back to the community, but Jesus remained at the county. They have exchanged. It is now Jesus who is out. The man is restored. Jesus searches for those who are lepers, who are set apart. Goes to their world. Searches for them and brings them like a shepherd bringing back a lost sheep to the fold. Jesus, the hope of the leper. At the entrance of our liturgy today, we sang the entrance song. Nainoa moyo, moyo wangu kwako wewe Bwana, unikinge na uovu, tumaini njia zako fundishe ukweli kimaya niongoze tumaini wetu. In the life, when you are a farm and you have plants or your crop and they are attacked, we treat them. We spray them and they get strength and they produce. When you have animals and they are attacked by skin diseases, In Kenya, we take them to the deep, and the disease comes out, and they are renewed, they are restored. Today, we are given Jesus Christ as the deep of a human being. We might not have skin diseases, we might not have scabies. When I was young, I have never seen leprosy. Today is not very much common. But I saw sandak. There was this thing called sandak, that was also contagious. And those who suffered from it, you would scratch yourself even in the market, and you are not conscious of what is happening. Even when you are remaining naked, you will still continue to scratch yourself. But what happens when our heart is full of scabies? When our life is full of leprosy? When, like the leper, get leprosy, you are a walking embarrassment. Embarrassment to yourself, embarrassment to your family, embarrassment to you. What happens when we have diseases? Where do we go to? Jesus Christ. To clean us, to make us get the meaning of our life back, to restore us. What happens when the leprosy is in my mouth? What I say is what embarrassing my husband, embarrassing my children. What happens when my behavior is embarrassing everybody in the office where I'm working? What happens when I have the leprosy? And the leper here represents the people Jesus came for. The leprosy can come in our life in different kinds. In John chapter 4, he met a woman with the leprosy of prostitution. And he restored her life back. Luke chapter 18, he met Zacchaeus, the tax collector. The person who was working in the county was hell-bent to rob and steal from the people. And he restored. We are given Jesus as the place that we go to when we are full of embarrassment, when we are full of stigma, self-stigma, social stigma, and he restores us back. Number 2, it is important to note that the leper goes to Jesus. It is important to note that in the Gospel of Matthew, it is Zacchaeus that climbed the tree. It is important to note that at the well of Jacob, it is the Samaritan woman who asked for water. We must have an intention of coming here. Why do we come? That Jesus may bless us, that Jesus may heal us, that Jesus may restore us, remove the embarrassment. And that is the meaning of our church. And that is why we come. Not because we are so clean, but because we are like the lepers. We come begging Jesus. We must have an intention. We must have an intention. That Jesus may raise us up. That Jesus may touch us in our embarrassment and restore us. And so today, we are given our Lord as the deep of our life. When we are full of scabies, when we are full of things that scare people around us, when we are full of embarrassment, we dip ourselves into him and he touches us and restores us. In the second reading, Paul wants us to be another Jesus to our fellow human being. The Church of God, the Catholic Church, is not established to give judgment to the world, to condemn the world. The way I know it, the Catholic Church is an icon of hope, an oasis in the desert for people who are downtrodden, for people who are socially assassinated. We, the church, is not called to condemn, but to restore. It is the hope that the church gives the world, the hope of Jesus. And Paul said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. That our life as we come from this, if we are cleansed and we are healed, that the church must always be the oasis of hope to people that sometimes are stigmatized. Maybe because of things that they have in their life. Maybe because of the diseases that sometimes come into their life and make people talk bad about them. Maybe because of the social status that they have. Or sometimes because of the gift that they are not given. That the church must imitate Christ. And the great apostle tells the Corinthians, imitate me in my relationship with these marginalized people, the nobodies, as I imitate our Lord. He wants us to be another Christ, that our life may reflect to the people who are outside there. The one we have met, the one that has touched us, the one that has removed the embarrassment that we once have. I believe in one God, Father Almighty,